Hey. From Nigeria to the world, it's the real conversation with Housing Diva. Real issues, real insights, real solutions. From the housing space to everyday life conversations. No filter, just truth. It's the real conversation with Housing Diva.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Real Conversation Show. As always, I am your host, the Housing Diva. Today we're discussing a topic that has quietly affected many women across Nigeria for years. Imagine finding your dream apartment, meeting all the financial requirements, only to hear, sorry, we don't rent to single ladies. For some women, especially single mothers, this has become a painful and frustrating reality. Some landlords say it is about security. Others say it is based on experience. But many women believe it is unfair discrimination. So today we're asking, should marital status determine who deserves a home? Joining me today on the Real Conversation Show is Barrister Kehinde Oluwatobi Kehinde, Head of Chambers at Owolabi Co. Thank you so very much for joining us on the Real Conversation today.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and it's my pleasure to be here this morning.
All right, so this topic we're talking about today has generated so much debate online as well as offline. So because many women genuinely feel judged before they are even given a chance, let's begin from the legal angle. Is it actually legal in Nigeria for landlords to refuse renting apartment to single ladies or single mothers simply because they are unmarried?
Honestly, there is no law in Nigeria stopping the landlords from renting an apartment to a single lady or a single mother. In short, Section 42 of our Constitution talks against discrimination of Nigerians as a whole. However, you see, tenancy relationship between landlord and tenants, it's contractual. So a landlord actually owns his property because it's a private owned property. So he has the right to screen people before giving them houses. But this screening should be based on, talk about financial capacity, we talk about security, responsibility, and all of that. But then when it's now coming to, oh, are you single? Are you a single mother? Are you a single lady? Then at that point, it is ethically unacceptable and it is also unconstitutional in Nigeria.
All right, so the screening shouldn't be about their marital status.
At all.
Oh, okay. So do tenants in Nigeria have any real protection against housing discrimination? Do they have that?
There is no real law in Nigeria that talks about housing discrimination. However, we're talking about Section 42 of the Constitution, which talks about discrimination. We talk about landlord and tenant relationship. We talk about eviction, harassment, and all of that. But there is no law that focuses on discrimination of tenants.
So you're saying Nigerian tenancy laws, they are not strong enough when it comes to protecting vulnerable tenants?
You know, another thing is, most of these discriminating acts is done informally. You don't see the land. For example, if you're to rent an apartment from a landlord, you don't see it being documented that, oh no, I don't want to give this house to a married lady. So there's no way you're going to prove it that, oh, this landlord refused to give me this house because I'm not married, or this landlord refused to give me this house because I'm a single mother. So that was why.
Okay, so it's kind of done informally.
Exactly.
It's not out there in the open. But when they get to such an apartment and they see the landlord or the agent, they begin to hear different kind of questions about their marital status. All right, so one thing women complain about basically is about the kind of questions they are asked. I know you've talked about it when searching for accommodation. Can agent or landlord legally ask questions like, where is your husband? Who will visit you? Are you truly single? Can they ask such questions? Let's throw more light on that.
You know, you asked your question at first and you asked about this discrimination, and I said landlord and tenant relationship is contractual. A landlord's house is a private owned property. So a landlord has the right to an extent on what happens on his property.
Okay.
So the landlord can ask certain questions. Oh, are you married? Are you single? Based on security reasons.
Okay.
However, it becomes wrong when those questions become stereotype, or you're not giving the house to somebody because she's unmarried or because she is single. Take for instance, I'm single, you're married, we go to rent an apartment. I'm financially capable of renting the house. I don't have any bad record. I have everything the landlord needs. But simply because I'm a single lady, he doesn't give me the house, but he gives it to you because you're married.
Even when I'm not financially capable to.
Then at that point in time, it becomes discrimination. At that point in time, if you're able to prove it in court, under Section 42 of the Constitution, that this landlord did not give me this house because I am unmarried, then you have a point. Yes.
Oh, all right. So why do you think many landlords seems more comfortable renting to married couples than single women?
I think it's based on cultural belief and also social ethics. People tend to tag responsibility to married couples. They believe if you're married, you're responsible. If you're single, you're not responsible. And I feel that is very, very wrong. Because at the end of the day, responsibility has to be based on personal belief. For me as a person, personally, am I responsible? Good. There are some married couples that are not responsible. You hear instances of married couples being in a house, they are scattering the house, they are fighting. So it's not proper.
All right. So, one painful part of this conversation is that some women work extremely, when I say extremely hard, they build successful careers and live responsibly, yet they feel reduced to their marital status. If you're just joining us, this is a Real Conversation, and we'll be back shortly.
The Silicon Valley, the first in Africa. All right, and the title is FCA C of O. And you can't have C of O without R of O. So we have both. So the title is perfect, and it has been 100% procured. We owe nobody. All right. I'm telling you, in the next 1 year, anyone that has not invested in Apple will regret. Because the 10 lane is almost here. You all saw it, right? It's almost here. And it's just 3 minutes from here. The connecting and adjoining access is being done by Promise Land, which is about just 3 minutes. It's literally 3 minutes. When the culverts are completed, in 3 minutes, you are there. Okay? But don't wait for that to happen first. Because by the time we're done, the prices will be 3 times. So if you're investing 10 million, it will be 30 million there already. So whoever is investing in Innovation City, we are guaranteeing such investors 300% in 12 to 15 months because of the pace of development that's going to happen. All right?
Just truth is the real conversation with Housing Diva.
All right, welcome back to the Real Conversation. Today we are discussing no husband, no house, because you're a single lady or a single mother. We're still discussing this very interesting topic. So, Barrister Toby, do single mothers face even greater challenges in the housing market?
Yes, actually they do. And most times this is tied to the fact that landlords believe they are not financially capable. A lot of single mothers come with a lot of baggages. However, these are wrong, these are discriminatory, and it's not supposed to be so.
When you say baggages, what are we referring to here?
Their children, their problems.
That's how the landlords see all of this.
Yes, that they are not emotionally stable.
Okay.
A situation whereby maybe the landlord is asking, oh, let this thing be done, or we need to do this, and then this woman is not emotionally happy, she's not in a good space. The landlord believes she might lash out, she might act in a way that is not proper. So most times they tend to avoid issues like that. Or maybe when they have issues with their baby daddy is coming there to constitute nuisance and all of that. But that is not proper. There are a lot of single mothers in Nigeria today that are doing very well. And they live more responsible than married women.
All right. So have there been situations, where landlords face legal consequences because of discriminatory treatment?
I said before that we don't have any law when it has to do with landlord and tenant based on discriminatory attitude. However, there have been situations where landlord has been able to face the law when it has to do with unlawful eviction, harassment, unlawful eviction, harassment, acting in a way that is not proper, because the landlord and the tenant relationship, as I said, is contractual.
Yeah.
So for that period of time, where the tenant is in that house, you own it. The landlord himself has to abide by the rules of the tenancy agreement. Now, when the landlord breaches any of the rules and regulations in that tenancy agreement, then it becomes a problem, even for the landlord himself.
So the tenant has the right to sue the landlord?
He has the right to sue the landlord. Even when you're in a place and let's say your rent has expired, your landlord cannot just come there and then push you out of the house. No, he has to follow the due process of the law before you take a tenant out of the house.
Oh, all right. So what are some, what rights should every tenant know before paying for accommodation?
Number one, make sure you meet the landlord. Number two, one of the major issues we face while getting houses is the agents.
Okay.
You have to know the agent himself. You have to know if he has the right to actually bring this house out to the market. You have to have receipt for every money you pay. You have to have a tenancy agreement. You have to make sure that there's a tenancy agreement. And if possible, when you need a lawyer, you could call your lawyer to help you go through these agreements and explain them to you so you understand better.
Okay, let's deviate from single mothers and single ladies. You know, most times you're in an apartment, like now the rainy season. As it rains, you see the roof of the house or accommodation leaking. You know, all of those things. Who is responsible for such repairs? Because some people call their landlord and say, are you not the one living inside the house? Stay there now, let the rain be hitting you and your family. Don't repair it. So is it right?
First is first. What does your tenancy agreement has to say? But
Okay.
however, in law, what I know is recognizes it's a structural part of the house. When we talk about the roof and all of that, the structural aspect, the outside and all, it's for the landlord to repair it. But you see minor things inside the house, like let's say for example your WC, something happened, a pipe broke inside the house, or your kitchen, the tap is no longer working. You should be responsible for that.
For such repairs?
Yes, for minor repairs that does not have to do with structural repairs.
Repairs.
Yes.
Okay. So what are some red flags women should watch out for while house hunting?
The most important part is when there is a hurry to collect your money from you. When you notice that the agent is telling you, pay up, if you don't pay up, somebody wants to take the house, take a step backward and study first. Number one. Number two, when they are trying to hide the landlord from you, is an issue.
Some of them will tell you the landlord is not even in Nigeria. And
You have to speak to the landlord. You have to get proper documents for that property. Okay, this is the landlord. Does he own it? Because we've seen situation whereby agents rent houses to tenants. After paying for these houses, the landlord will come and say, oh, they don't know anything about it. I, for one, have done a case like that, and we even had to get to this court of appeal for that, because after making the payment, the landlord said, oh, he does not know anything about this, he needs the tenant out of the house, he's an unlawful occupier and all of that. So you need to get proper documentation. You need to be sure. Another important part is tenancy agreement. When the landlord is running away from proper documentation, signing any proper agreement, then it's a major red flag. Get receipt for the money you pay. Ask the question, am I going to get receipt? If they're not going to give you an official receipt, have your receipt of payment on your phone and make sure that it's done to the landlord's account. Don't do a third-person transaction. That is it, yes.
Oh, okay. So don't do a third-person
No, don't
But you
do
know,
that.
most times in Nigerians, we are too much in a hurry to pay for a house. Even when they bring that tenancy agreement, they just flip through. Let me just sign because I so much need this house. They've gone house hunting. They're already tired. They've been searching for a house. So what advice would you give? You know, that tenancy agreement, that is the whole instrument now you have
Yes.
to hold your landlord accountable.
That's a binding relationship.
That's a
between
binding
you and your
relationship.
landlord at that point in
So
time.
what advice would you give Nigerians concerning that tenancy law? Because most of us, we don't even read it.
We need to go through because you see, tenancy agreement has a lot of important clauses. We have important clauses as to notices, how notice will be given to you. I, for one, I have a way, like I said, landlord and tenant relationship, it is private, it is contractual. You understand? The law, let's say if the law says, oh, this thing should be done this way, and in our agreement we agree that this thing should be done this particular way. If it is not against natural justice, then the law is not going to frown at it. You have to go through each and every clause on the tenancy agreement. That is the clause or notices, because sometimes you see some tenancy agreement 7 days after your rent expired, you have to move out from there. You have to be sure of those kind of clause in your tenancy agreement. You have to be sure as to, you ask the question on structural repair and all of
Yes.
that. Most agreement has that. There are some agreement that tell you, oh, we don't need pets in the house. Some agreement to say, oh, no AC should be mounted outside and all of that. All of those things are important. Those clauses are important. You need to go through them so you don't have an issue when you move into the house.
All right, so for a landlord watching this program right now, what advice would you give to such a landlord?
No, my advice to such landlord is, number one, you don't give out your houses to people based on stereotype. You don't give houses to you don't rent your house out based on, oh, she's a single mother, she's not going to be responsible, no, or I'm going to give my house to this person because, oh, she's married or he's married. In as much as sometimes people go to rent husbands to get these houses.
Sure.
Yes,
it happens.
Yes.
It happens.
People go to rent husbands to get these houses. And they should know that the moment they start stereotyping their tenants, they are going against the constitution, and these tenants has constitutional rights. They should please, while trying to rent their houses to people, they should focus their search based on security reasons. When we talk about are you financially capable, your past tenancy history, you can ask questions like, why did you leave your last house? What's the issue? What happened? For one, I ask questions like that before giving houses out to tenants. You understand? You can ask, oh, would you be able to pay this rent after 2 years? Would you be able to would you want to stop it? Sometimes I go as far as asking personal questions just to see the way you handle situation, because I wouldn't want a tenant that will come, especially a house that the landlord is living with the tenant. A tenant that is so malicious, you want to fight with the landlord, is not proper. So sometimes I ask questions as to the kind of friends you have, just to know how you handle matter, your emotional state and all of that.
So how about the landlord? Because we've seen online, most times you see tenants crying out, oh, I was on my own, the landlord asked me a question, I didn't answer properly, and he would just come with his children and they start beating their tenant and all of that.
Please, if you can
I've seen it online.
If you can get a video of that, please get a video of that. That is harassment. That is harassment. That is wrong. The landlords should go back to their drawing board and go and read the tenancy law, because now tenants are actually also protected by tenancy law of each state. Rivers State has their tenancy law, Lagos State has their tenancy law, and all of that. They should go back and read what the tenancy law talks about. And another thing, landlords should not just go to a tenant's house and go and pack them out that, your rent has expired. Go to court, do the proper thing.
Some will even come with security guys, bouncers, they push everything, lock the door. It's not proper.
In as much as we have problematic tenants, they should also go by way of the law. Whatever the landlords are doing, they should do it by the way of the law, and they should also not discriminate single ladies and also single mothers. That's not right.
Aside the single ladies and the single mothers, you see some landlords, when you're looking for an apartment and you come to them, the first thing they ask you, where are you from? Tribal discrimination. Oh, I don't give my houses to people from this part of Nigeria. Oh, if you're from this state, no, I cannot give my house to you. Is that also normal?
That also falls under Section 42 of the Constitution, which talks against discrimination. That is not right. You don't discriminate against Nigerians. That is not proper. I've seen for one where you hear, oh, I want to give this property to only Yoruba people. Oh, I want to give this property to... And this is not just in the housing sector. It also happens when you go to look for a job. It also happens in almost the simplest thing in our day-to-day activities, which is wrong. And I feel formal reform should be done, and a lot of orientation should be changed.
Okay, so a lot of orientation should be changed.
Yeah.
All right, I think this conversation is bigger than housing. It is about dignity, it is about perception, it is about the silent emotional stress many women experience while simply trying to find a safe place to live. And perhaps society needs to start asking itself, are we judging people too quickly? This is a Real Conversation, and we'll be back shortly.
Conversation with Housing Diva.
All right, so I'll ask you a final question now in one sentence. What needs to change in Nigerians' housing culture?
The major thing is we need to do better. When we talk about, we need to have laws that protect citizens generally. Right now, I'm not going to just focus this on single mothers and single ladies. We need to have laws that protect tenants against discrimination, and that is just the major thing, because, like I said, Section 34 talks about dignity of human lives, and that is it.
All right, so thank you so very much, Barrister Toby, for your time on the Real Conversation.
Thank you, ma'am, and it's nice being here too.
All right, so today's conversation may make some people very uncomfortable, but these are conversations we must continue to have. Housing should come with fairness, dignity, and humanity. Thank you so much to our guests for joining us today, and thank you for watching the Real Conversation Show. Don't forget to subscribe to Housing Diva TV for more impactful conversations around housing, society, and real estate. As always, I am your Housing Diva. See you next time, and bye for now.
Just truth is the real conversation with Housing Diva.